sometimes I think I even used to go to those brothels at least maybe to try and mess up and get sick and die, because I wasn't thinking straight. And all this time I didn't know exactly where the pain was coming from, because even my friends would ask me, Chris, when you are sober, you are this sharp guy, even writing articles in the newspapers, but when you start drinking, you won't even go to work, you won't even do anything that is meaningful. I remember I enrolled at Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. I even did 1 year and even the project, and I paid my fees. But at the beginning of the second year, and it was supposed to be only 2 years. At the beginning of the second year, even after having paid my fees, I was totally unable to attend class. The money went like that. And that is even after going to Mombasa, doing a beautiful project. I didn't get my postgraduate diploma. I just stopped. I didn't even go to the school, maybe to defer. My money just went like that. And this was something I was maybe trying, because I always had that interest in journalism, maybe writing, something of the sort. I wanted to augment my skills, maybe make myself more marketable. It all went away. I was not even now a functional alcoholic. I don't want to say beyond redemption. I remember I even cried for help at the company's wellness department. They tried helping me, because one time I stayed for almost a month without going to work. And I would borrow money from my friends. I would lie that there's someone sick in the family, and the company still listened. And then I walked in, I told them I have a problem with my drinking now. It was during a disciplinary. I told them I need help, and I was given help. They got a counselor for me all the way in Kilimani, and I would go every week, twice a week. They would pay for all that. And my manager would call me, ask me how I am, and I would report to work. But I wasn't ready. I had not dealt with whatever was eating me up, and I didn't even know what was messing me. You see, whatever was eating me up had started as just a small issue. Maybe not performing well in school, low self-esteem, and I found maybe the solution in quotes, I found maybe the solution would be in alcohol, because alcohol, it's not a stimulant, but it gives you that good feeling that everything is fine, and you're able to overcome those fears. That low self-esteem, you're able to overcome it, you're able to talk to girls. For me, that's how it started. But now my brain started asking for more. Now it wasn't even fun, because sometimes I would wake up at 4 a.m. at night, and I would feel like, it's a demon calling me. I need to drink, and I would walk out, and even the askari at the gate would ask me, "Hey, kijana, unaenda wapi?" I just tell me where I can find a drink. I'll pay you. That is if I had money. And I would go sleep in bars. Sometimes I remember one time I was even locked in a bar in Pipeline. They didn't even know I was there because I blacked out. It was so messy. Another time I would find myself sleeping on the benches with other, characters you wouldn't even want to associate with in normal life. But that was my world now. And sometimes I would wake up maybe in a brothel without shoes, and not even knowing what I did at night. And I would ask myself, what does my mom think I'm doing? What does my family think I'm doing? because I had cut those links. I was trying to cut them because of the shame, the guilt. So what started as fun, what started as a coping mechanism had now become a disease. I was now sick. I was virtually sick. I would, because I loved night shift, I would go to work in the morning after getting from work. I would go directly into the bar because I would rationalize. People come from work at 5 in the evening. So for me, 5 p.m. is 6 a.m. in the morning. I would go to a bar, spend time in the bar, maybe up to 1 p.m. Or 2 p.m. I would go and sleep. So by 4 or 5, when I'm supposed to go to work, I would be high. I would still be high, and I would go to work drunk. They didn't have alcohol blows or anything like that, but you know, I was supposed to serve clients like that, and the pain continued eating me up. The fact that I was hurting people, I was hurting my girlfriend back then, I was hurting my family. I wasn't even talking to my parents. Anytime they would call, I would lie, I'm at work. Sometimes I would be at bars. And then after drinking, I would start calling my mom while high. I would be telling her, now I want to die. Now I'm done with this world. And she would just laugh and tell me, you are not dying. Your time is not, it's not yet time. And sometimes I would envision my death, how emancipating it would be, that it will release me from all the pain I was feeling. No one would understand what I was going through, not even the closest of friends, and I suffered. Now in 2010, after a lot of missed work days, one time I walked into a bar. It was in October 16th, 2010. I walked into a bar. I even had some skuma. I wanted to go and cook and then go for night shift. I walked into a bar, said maybe I'll take one keg and go cook, and I thought I was in control. And that is how my work at Safaricom ended, because friends continued buying. I forgot about my skuma. I forgot about my work. Drinking was always the priority. Whether there is a nice girl, whether there is a business deal, whether there is a school certificate, and beer would be the first priority. Actually, I used to say, even if God was to come and ask us, do you want to go to heaven or you want to continue drinking? I would say, let me continue drinking. About heaven, we'll talk about that later. It was the only, I thought it was the only solution back then. How foolish I was. I wish I knew how much joy people have when sober. But I came to realize about that. So I lost my job. I was not even fired, because I just stopped going to work. And then the company looked for me. They sent my next of kin, who was my sister Angela. They searched for me. They looked for me all over. I used to even see them looking for me, because I knew all the DJ places in Pipeline, and I would hide. And I had no idea what I was going to do after losing this job, because I knew I was going to lose the job. So finally, she got my termination letter, and the job came to an end. Now I had no income. I had a bed sitter I was supposed to pay for 8,000. The only thing I had was a laptop, and I had this idea that there is something called online writing, but I didn't even have an idea how to start. So I started now selling my stuff. I had, like any other single guy, I had this big machine, music. Those days was it not hi-fi? Yeah, system. I started selling stuff, even my iron box. I would carry something in a paper bag, go sell it at a Shylock's, or leave it at a Shylock's in the pretense that I would be coming for it, but I knew it would be gone. So I continued drinking for a few weeks or for a month. Before now, my friends, one of my workmates now called a friend, a mutual friend from college, James. He was my, he is my friend. That guy is the one who came for me from Pipeline, because he was like a savior. Basically, I had already moved out of the 8,000 bed sitter. I had sold a lot of stuff, so I was just packing with some guys, just waiting for life to happen or for the next thing to happen. So in my mind, the next thing would always be some beer. And James came for me, and he offered to host me because before I got back on my feet. So towards the end of 2010, I moved to Kariobangi now. We were staying in the top floor. He had a nice room and an extra one. That's where I used to stay. And the washrooms were outside. It was a nice place. So when I moved there, I had nothing. I had sold everything, including the bed. And the only thing I had was my laptop and like a small desk where I used to place the laptop. And that laptop became my my breadwinning tool, because James introduced me to someone, a friend of his, who knew how to write. So that is how I got into this thing of article writing, blog writing, or the entire web content writing thing. And I started making a little money, but by the time I moved to his house, I was already in bad shape. I had to drink in the morning or I would start shaking. And he would help me, you know, like any other man. He wouldn't like to see me in that situation. Sometimes he would help me with some money. Sometimes I would just walk into bars. I started getting a name in the bars because I would write a bit in the at night, and then I would or during the day, in the evening, I would have some money. So in the morning, I had kutoa lock, walk into a bar, maybe take a cup or two, then go back to the house. And they would even dismiss me. They would not give me the third cup, because if I moved to the third cup, I would not work and they would not get the money. So I stayed with James, and sometimes we would quarrel because of my drinking. Still, I wasn't going home because of the shame. I had just lost a big plum job somewhere, and I didn't even want to face the questions from my parents. And the shame, I think, drove me now further. I think most of the people who have this alcohol abuse disorder or alcoholism or even any form of addiction, they start as fun, and then it gets hold of you now. Whatever you thought was helping you to cope now becomes a disease. It holds you and you can't get out of it. Now, by 2011, 2011, the alcohol now had held my brain. I really needed to drink for me to function. Even a phone call in the morning, I would not even pick. And most of the times, I didn't even have a phone anyway. So the communication would be maybe online. The company, I learned that the company would pay me some money after there were some benefits. And when the money came, I got drunk one time. I got so drunk one time that I don't know how it happened, but I found myself in town somewhere, and then I carried someone home. Now the laptop, my laptop was stolen, my phone, everything, and I think that was that was 2011. I think 2012, around 2011, 2012. So everything was stolen. And remember, by that time I had a lot. I owed James a lot of money, and instead of giving him the money, I first went to drink with the prostitutes, and now I didn't even have a laptop. I didn't have any solution. Still, the guy didn't chase me out. He gave me a solution. He gave me his computer to use as a friend. Actually, he bought it just for me, and he said, when you get your shit together, you'll be able to maybe pay me back. But I still continued drinking, and at one time, I can't remember where I got some money, and I drank so much. I ended up somewhere in Westlands. By that time, I used to, anytime I would drink, I would get lost. I would find myself in places I didn't even know. Sometimes I would find myself in a trench, and I would try to recall how I got there. I was just lucky. Maybe I wasn't even sodomized or something. I always say God had a purpose for me. I have never understood why all those things were happening. I was doing all those crazy things, and I never got hurt, physically that badly. I would get some dents sometimes, like sometimes I would get knocked or beaten in bars, mostly because maybe I have drank beer and I have not paid. Okay, so I would be wearing those goggles for some time to cover up the shame. So now back to that time I drank and found myself in Westlands with no money, no ID, nothing. And the only thing I could remember at that time, and drunkards are not foolish, the only thing I could remember, or the only place I could recall while at Westlands, was the Chiromo rehab. As I was walking down Waiyaki Way, the thought in my mind was always, and it is not the first time I had thought about that, maybe I was just born to be a tragic guy, like these tragic heroes in novels who always make mistakes, like Oedipus and the others. I thought maybe I was just born to die as an example to people who messed up in life. And when I went to the Chiromo, because I went to that side of Chiromo mortuary, they directed me to the other side of the road. And as I was crossing, I had this feeling that it was the right time to die. But something pushed me. I wanted to jump onto the road and just get knocked down. And it was something that I had ever thought about. In Pipeline, there used to be a certain bridge somewhere, and I used to think about that. Anytime I would cross the bridge, I would feel like, what if I jumped and maybe just got knocked and died? So I went into Chiromo. I was directed to Chiromo, the rehab, and I think it's owned by Nairobi University. It was owned back then by Nairobi University. I got at the gate, and they looked at me and they told me, you are in the wrong place. I was looking like a mad person, and I was crying. I started crying from that point, because I thought this guard is looking at me and seeing a hopeless drunkard, maybe a mad bangi smoker or something, and yet I'm a graduate, maybe somebody who can even do great things. I cried and begged him, and he allowed me in. When I walked in, I went to the reception. They looked at me again. They were skeptical because they were wondering. Of course, I was a bit high because of the hangover and all that. So they asked me what I wanted. I cried my heart out. I told them I want to get admitted here. I have heard about you from people like David Ogot and the others. Please help me. And I even, there was a loan there, and I slept there. And I said, I'm not leaving here until you help me. So they consulted and they told me, do you have any contact person? I called my sister. My sister was there in about an hour, and she worked she used to work at Kasarani at that time. My sister, my eldest sister Catherine, she came. Not that she had money, but I told her I want to get admitted. I want to heal now. I'm done. I've lost a good job. I don't have anything. I don't have savings. I have no family. So I was admitted there. The detox started, and it was painful, losing all the chemicals. We would sit there like zombies, you know, one zombie to the other. It was like Walking Dead in a way. And let me laugh, but it was painful watching serious people, sharp guys, sharp women, even there was an old man there brought by the family. All the families there wanted the best for their kin. And after 3 weeks, I felt good. I said I won't have to go to rehab, the rehab now, the residential one at Limuru. And we went to my sister's place in Roy. But then, within a month or two, I continued writing. I got my computer from Kariobangi. I continued writing. But then, after 2 months, I felt good. I had continued saving. And I felt, now I can go back to Kariobangi and start my life. But let me tell you, that night we drank a lot of beer. Because these cliques people call friends. Instead of maybe telling me, no, we are not drinking, get out of here, just go to the house and get sober. They were welcoming me, and it was party after party. And after all, I had some money. Money, women, beer, women, money. And they were not upright women, of course, so they would even steal from you. So now I got back into drinking, 2012, around March. By May, I was so badly off that I even took the computer to a Shylock. And it wasn't mine, it was my friend's, and he was the one hosting me. I took it, and he found, I don't know how he got wind of it, he came and found me selling it. And he told me, now, this is the end of it all. You have to man up. In 2017, now, the beginning of the year, I started realizing, maybe this thing, I have to fight it. I've always been prayerful. I've always cried to God. Even when I wanted to kill myself, I always told God, maybe you wanted me to be an example for those who are struggling with addiction and maybe alcoholism. Maybe if I die, they would maybe realize how bad it is. And one day in February, around 8th, I woke up in so much pain after a lot of drinking. My money was only for drinking, not even eating. So I woke up in so much pain, and I cried to God. I won't lie to you, I went to rehab or anything. I cried to God, and I told God, now I don't want to die. Now I want you to give me a chance to live a sober life. I have tried before. I got born again. I got saved. I got pastors to pray for me. I tried everything. I even tried moving from town to town to get sober. I failed. Now I told God, please take this cup away from me for me to survive, or I'll just die a hopeless person. I didn't even have food to eat. I borrowed some food from my neighbor, and then I went to a Catholic church. I knelt, I prayed, I cried. I came back to the house and I slept. I told God, just this one night, let me not go borrow alcohol from anyone. I didn't go. And in the morning, I woke up shaking, still hungry. I went to the cyber. I told the cyber guy, I'm struggling with a problem. I want to work from here. I don't have money. But if I work for a few days, we'll get money, I'll pay you. The guy told me it's fine. He had seen me struggle with the drinking and all that. And he had even tried talking to me. So that's how my life turned. And from that February 8th, 2017, it was a day at a time. I would avoid the alleys where I knew. Although my house was deep down in Choka, I would avoid any alley that I knew had a bar. I would avoid friends in quotes, because those are not your friends. They run away when you are in problems. And then after about a month or two, I called my sister, my eldest sister, and I told her, you know what, it has been 2 months, I would like to see you. She was the only one maybe who had an idea where I lived. And she told me, you come. I even have a function, so she called me to a function. Her son was going to Egypt for studies, further studies. So I was called to the function. So I appeared. Even my parents were there, and everyone was looking at me like, no, we are waiting for you to blow up, to mess up. I wasn't messing up, I was smart. And everyone was, you know, that stigma. Everyone waiting for Chris to mess up. I didn't mess up. I even talked to my nephew before he flew out. From that time, I then called my ex-wife. I talked to her. She agreed that I would see my son. I went, saw my son, and I couldn't even remember him, and it was a good moment, you know. Like, I felt so guilty of all the pain I would have caused him if I had committed suicide. I looked at my parents, my dad. You know, the guy was happy. The guy has always been this tough guy, and now he was all emotional because he could see that maybe this time it was for real. I had tried many other times. Now this time it looked like it was for real. And that's how, because of the family support, everyone stood there for me. My brother, one of my elder brothers, supported me, helped me buy a laptop, my own desk. Within a few months at my sister's place, I got my own place in Utawala. I started now writing full time, and that is what I've been doing. I started doing businesses, online businesses, importing stuff from China, and I would sell the stuff. I would feel so good that I had money in the bank. You know, normally I would not sleep in the same house with money. If I woke up maybe at 3 a.m. and there was 100 bob there, that 100 bob I had to find beer. I would walk, however insecure the place was, I had to walk and find beer, whatever type, changa, moody, whatever it was. And I know there are people who have gone maybe through worse stuff, but maybe they have not come out. And for me, I just wanted to share my story. Maybe the 17 years are not that many, but the things I've been through, I cry a lot. The thoughts, because of that guilt, maybe the shame of what I did, sometimes I get those dark moments and I feel low, but I have my support team. My wife, Caro, she's the best. She's always there for me. She understands. I told her about my past, and she even encouraged me to share my story. Some of the stuff is a bit ugly, but I had to share it. All I want is to encourage someone out there. If you have a problem, if you feel like there's something eating you up. For me, it was the low self-esteem. For me, it was the feeling of inadequacy. If you feel there's something eating you up, please don't die alone. Speak to someone. Talk to someone. It doesn't have to be your partner. It doesn't have to be your parents. Talk to someone maybe neutral, somebody who has not yet judged you, because your family has already judged you, and maybe they have said some nasty stuff and you feel like they are not the best source of healing. Talk to someone, anyone. It could be a pastor, it could be maybe somebody in your estate you see, maybe it could be somebody who is recovering like myself. And that's why I'm open. If you feel like you want to talk to me, you can reach me, and I'll give my contacts. My number is 0726 619 079. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Kimaru Crispus. Just call me. We can talk. We can walk. If you have family, maybe you have someone who is struggling, we can walk together. My parting shot: please speak out, especially for men. I know there are also women who are suffering. Please speak out. Don't die a man. Speak out. Talk to someone. Talk to me. Let's walk. Let's figure it out, please. Thank you so much for listening to me. I love you guys, and thanks for my family, my wife, for always supporting me, and most of all to God for giving me the second chance. And